Hello guys, this is Pavel from Laravel Daily Team and YouTube channel Laravel Business. And if you follow this YouTube channel for a while, you probably know that I like creating demo projects for you. So I'm constantly searching for ideas for new demo projects, which are mostly free on GitHub. And this is one of them. This will be a long video. I'm not sure if it will be one long video or will it be a series of videos, or maybe I will form it into an online course, not sure yet. So I will create a demo project for you or with you live here, and we'll see where it goes. So this is the thing that I want to create, and don't be afraid with the word WordPress. It won't be WordPress, it will be Laravel. But this project, in this example, it could be created with both WordPress or Laravel. But of course, it's channel about Laravel, and I work with that framework, so I will use that. So what do we have here? A website that can display information up to 300 venues. Oh, by the way, I like to use Upwork, or that's the source for me, not for the jobs. Well, sometimes for the jobs as well, but for inspiration of real example projects. I didn't bid on that project just because I'm not from India. In this case, the client wants a person from India, and that budget probably is pretty low. But anyway, so this is a real project. That's what I want to emphasize here. We will create a real project based on the specification. And instead of full brief document, they just send the examples, and that's actually a bad sign for the client. I wouldn't like to work with that client because they didn't spend time to explain how that should work. They just sent some random links. But let's take a look at one of them. This is hirespace.com, a pretty impressive website to look for venues in UK, from what I understand. And looks impressive with beautiful pictures and search for venues. But in reality, it's pretty simple under the hood. So the backend is pretty simple. All you have here is venues, locations, event types, and so if we click some of them, there will be a listing of spaces, map here. So if you want to see a price here, also more pictures. So basically a website full of pictures with some descriptions of venues and a way to contact venues. So no purchases, no payments, not too much happening. Basically that's why it could be created with WordPress fully. It's like content types, probably. I'm not sure how it works in WordPress these days, but yeah, it could be created with WordPress, but it looks like a simple directory database website. And for that, we can use Laravel, and I will use my QuickAdminPanel to generate the admin panel for that, but also will create that website. But of course, we cannot recreate that with the same design because that would be a violation, copyright and stuff like that. So I found another Bootstrap theme called Homespace, which is kind of free. It's not exactly free. It's free if you leave this at the bottom. So Colorlib is the company that created a lot of templates, by the way. And this is called Homespace. Ironically, it's even called similarly, it's Hirespace and Homespace. And that is not exactly for venues, that is for real estate database, but the things are really similar here structurally. I mean, search for locations, for properties, pictures of properties, then listing of properties, then some services, so that can be used as venue types or locations with icons. Blog, we won't create a blog, we don't need that. Then some basically listing after listing, and that's exactly what we need here. Just we will rearrange stuff, we will restructure stuff, but we will use this front-end theme for creating the venue management system. And usually with this video, so that would be video number 1 or first part, I like to start with the database. So how do I structure the analysis of any new project? I start to think in terms of database. So what are database entities, database tables, fields, relationships, and all of that? And from there I get full picture, or like first version of full picture, and then from that I usually tend to raise questions to the clients, and then I see like blind spots or missing pieces or questions for the follow-up. So this is exactly what we will do first. We will create a database for the project. We will create a visual schema in MySQL Workbench. and migrations for Laravel. And for that, I would use our QuickAdminPanel. And that's a funny thing, actually. Side note: the QuickAdminPanel that I'm constantly advertising here, it's not exactly for admin panel only. It's, in this case, I would use it for creating the database and then creating migrations, and from those migrations I would create visual schema. So even for the mockup, even if you don't need admin panel for the mockup for the first structure of the database, it's also useful, and I'm using it constantly just for that, so not for admin panel directly. Okay, let's go. In my Google Keep, or you can use Notepad or whatever, I've come up with this structure. All that beautiful website with beautiful pictures comes down to these database tables, I think. So locations, every location has to have a slug for SEO purposes and a photo. Maybe we would change that in the future, but for the first version it's this simple. So event types and locations are mostly for choosing for the venues, and third table is venues. That's it, basically 3 tables in the database with a lot of fields, of course. So name of the venue, slug, also for SEO. Location is the relationship to one location, and event types is a relationship to event types but belongs to many, because I think venue may belong to one location but several event types. Then these are for the map, then description and a few things about the venue. Also is featured will be a checkbox to be featured on the homepage up top here, so in this area. So let's go to QuickAdminPanel now and generate these 3 CRUDs. It's called CRUDs, and that would turn into database migrations, and then we will create visual schema from that. So I'm inside of my QuickAdminPanel profile, and I create new panel. Venues management will be Laravel 6. Let's choose another theme. I enjoy Core UI lately, and let's create a project. And then while the code is generating, we can create more CRUDs, which exactly is what we need. By default, it comes with user management, but we don't need it for now. Let's get back to our database schema. So location, and we create menu item called locations. Locations. What fields do we need? Name, slug, and photo. Okay, so name will be a string, which is text in our case, and which is required. Save. Then slug will be also text, also required, and we also will implement automatic slug generation, and photo will be a photo field like this. So photo like this. Okay, so we save that CRUD of location, and then event types. Okay, so it's generating in the background, but we can continue. Event types, it will automatically be transformed to event type model, and same, I think it's same, name, slug, photo, absolutely the same. So name, required, save, slug, required, save. There are a lot more features, but I don't want to demonstrate that. That's not the purpose of the video. We need to just generate the CRUDs to generate database schema. So photo, save CRUD. And then final table will be more fun. So venues. Venues, we create menu item, called venues, and fields. Venue name, again, same, name and slug, required. Name, slug, required. And then it gets more interesting. So location belongs to location, and the field type would be then belongs to relationship. Location, which is required, and the model for the relationship will be locations. That's it. Then we create belongs to menu relationship, which will be this one, to event types. So event types. Optional, let it be optional, to model event types. That's it. What else do we need? Address, latitude, and longitude. So address will be text. It's required. Let's put it required. And latitude and longitude will be floats. So latitude and float accuracy should be much bigger. Let's put it at 8 because it's for coordinates, so latitude optional, and also float longitude for coordinates, accuracy 8. I'm not sure if it's 8, we will debug that a little later. Then description will be text area, description optional, save, then features, let it be also text area, features. Next, people minimum and people maximum, that's for the search, and that would be integers, so people minimum, optional, yeah, let it be optional, and people maximum, it's also integer, people maximum, okay, so those two. Then price per hour, it will be money field, and that's actually a debatable thing. It should be text, probably because price may depend on something, but for the simplicity of this project, let's stick to the money type, because otherwise we won't be able to search for money range of the price. So main photo will be one photo field, so let's call it main photo. And there's also a gallery, so gallery, both are optional, but photo, gallery, and the difference is a checkbox called multiple files, and finally is featured. So this will be a checkbox which would transform into Boolean field in the database is featured. Sorry, is featured. Okay, optional, default unchecked, save, and we save that CRUD. And the next thing we do, we download the code. I download the code, then I will install it locally as Laravel project. So do composer install, PHP artisan migrate, and we will have the project locally. And from there, we will generate the database. So I download the code. Some instructions here. So I unarchive the project and do composer install. I've prepared the domain already. I'm using Laravel Homestead, so I prepared q1.test to the folder q1, and the website will be working as soon as the composer install is finished. So what we need to do is composer install, artisan migrate, artisan key generate, and I think that's it. So let's wait for a while. Okay, so composer install is finished. Now artisan key generate, and also artisan migrate fresh with seeds. So it will delete all the tables that I had before, migrate fresh with seed, and we have the database. And meanwhile, I was reading indie hackers here, but let's launch q1.test to prove to you that it actually works. Yep, so here we have venues management, admin panel, but we don't need it yet. We need the database, right? And now we open MySQL Workbench. And actually database client SQL Pro too. So this is our database. As you can see here, venues, event types, locations, everything that we had just created. And in Workbench, I can reverse engineer the database. So we connect to our Homestead, and we do database reverse engineer the menu item to the visual schema. So we continue, we will choose the database, then we continue, 17 objects. Some of the tables will be default Laravel, some of them will be kind of not relevant to this tutorial, but look what we have here. So a lot of tables. Let's zoom out a little. So what we don't need auth, it's API stuff. So password resets is also from Laravel, that's auth, so let's drag something irrelevant, so auth clients. Roles and permissions are also kind of irrelevant for now, so roles, media is for photos, which is also kind of a separate. We use Spatie Media Library for managing photos. That's OAuth. That's migrations, also Laravel. System table, let's put it this way, role user and user. So we don't need these yet. And what else? Permissions. So permissions go here. Looks ugly. Give me a minute. I will make it more readable. Okay, so we have this for users and permissions. Then we have system tables, but actually what we need here is these 4 tables that we had just created. So event types, event type venues belongs to menu relationship with pivot table, and then locations, and then venues. Or maybe better structure would be this, readable, better readability. So something like, no, that, and then here. Yep, something like that. So with that database structure, we can go to the client of that project, potential client, transform it, export it into PNG or PDF, whatever, and ask the client, did we understand the structure correctly? So you need venues, and venues attached to one location, and potentially to many event types. And then from here you can actually create a project. So the purpose of this part of the series of the video was to show you how I think in terms of structuring the project, analyzing it. So I go from specification or example to the database creation, where QuickAdminPanel helps, and then to generate the visual schema, and then it's more clear for yourself and for the client and for everyone involved in a team. And now the next step will be actually starting to create a project.